There it is. Okay. So this plan, this 5 pounds in 7 days, I actually just went through it again right after Christmas and lost 6 pounds in 7 days. So I've added a couple things to it, and it really is a very simple plan. It's really, really simple. It's just not easy to follow. So let's get started. I'll tell you a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me or my story. Don't worry, I won't talk too much about that. I'll talk about the 40-30-30 plan, which is kind of the meat of this whole thing. And if you knew what I was going to talk about, that would have been funny. We'll talk why protein. If you follow me on my Facebook page, you know that this is a huge issue for me. I talk about protein all the time. So I'll offer you guys a little bit of information on why protein is so important. Exactly what to eat. I've got a couple of meal plans that I'll share with you, and I'll email them out as well after the call. I'll talk a little bit about how to maximize your weight loss in these 7 days with exercise as well, how to track your nutrition, your 40-30-30, what to do after the 7 days is over, and support for the 7-day program. Okay, just a little bit about me. I am hypothyroid and insulin resistant, which basically means that my body works very hard to be fat. Like the two hormonal disorders, both of them make a person a lot more susceptible to gain quickly, but the two of them actually kind of work against each other as well. So this picture, you can see that I was clearly not super impressed with having that picture taken. I was at my heaviest at that point, and I just remember going to the doctors and him telling me that I'm just genetically predisposed to being overweight. That's all there really was to it. So I left that doctor's appointment and I just started to cry and feel sorry for myself and think like there's no like pill that he can give me, or there's nothing that he's going to tell me that's going to help me to lose this weight. And I felt like I'd been trying a lot harder than my peers in their early 20s to lose weight, and it didn't come as easily for me. So long story short, after that doctor's appointment, I just decided to take 100% responsibility. I started researching like crazy about how the kinds of foods you eat impact your body, and all the research that I've done over the last 7 years has kind of culminated into this program that I follow now. I don't always follow this 40-30-30 plan really strictly, but especially after holidays and after vacations, I always implement it 100% just to get the fluffy weight off, the water weight off, and to get a little bit of motivation to start the journey. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you is basically what I've learned, not only for people who are either hypothyroid or insulin resistant, but really for anybody. How hormones can really impact your ability to drop fat and what this plan can do for you. Okay, so there's a little bit of a visual for you guys. When I say 40-30-30, what I'm talking about is macronutrients. There are 3 macronutrients: protein, carb, and fat. And with most weight loss programs, there's a lot of talk portion control and about calories, restricting calories, but there's not a lot of talk, or not enough, about what those calories consist of. How much protein, how much carb, how much fat. There is no bad macronutrient. There really isn't. It's just too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, and it depends on your body and how your body functions best, right? So we'll get into that a little bit more. It looks actually pretty easy when you look at that pie chart, the 40-30-30. It's more difficult than you might imagine to get to 40% protein, but we'll get into that in a little more detail in a couple of minutes. So the reason why I harp on protein all the time, the reason why I talk about it all the time is because eating enough protein has made an enormous difference in my body. So for those of you who are following the 21-day fix nutrition plan, or if you've seen my video on my page last week about the difference in protein portion versus starch portion, it was really startling to a lot of people how much more protein you should be eating in a day as opposed to starch. So again, I'll get into a little bit more detail later, but one of the big reasons that protein is so important is because, especially when you're losing fat, if you're not eating enough protein during fat loss, you're restricting calories, right? Your body's going to get the protein from somewhere because your body needs protein. So where is that protein going to come from? You will literally cannibalize the muscle tissue in your body so that you get enough protein. So what happens is, I'm going to give an example. So say Jennifer, she's 25 and she weighs 125 pounds, but she kind of gains and loses the same 10 pounds every year, right? So Jennifer's 25, she weighs 125 pounds. At the end of the year, she's 135 pounds. The next year, summer's coming around, so she gets her butt in gear, she starts running, and she stops eating so much junk food, and she loses the 10 pounds in time for summer, right? And so if she's only restricting calories and not paying attention how much protein she's eating, she's going to lose some lean muscle tissue during that fat loss. And so I hear a lot of people telling me, maybe at 30, they weigh the same as what they did at 25. And especially if there's been that yo-yoing of the 10 pounds every year, which is really common, right? Every single year during fat loss, she will also lose some muscle mass. So say Jennifer is 125 pounds at 30 years old, but she's a size 8, whereas at 25, she was a size 4 to 6. Weighing exactly the same. I hope that makes sense. As you're losing muscle tissue, your metabolism will start to tank and take a nosedive, but also at the same time, and probably more importantly, if you look at the visual at the top, the dude on the left and the dude on the right weigh the same. So the dude on the left is 185 pounds. The dude on the right in this animation is 185 pounds, but their body fat percentage is very different, right? So it really changes the look of your body. So you don't want to lose muscle mass. You want to just eat enough protein to support the muscle mass that you have, even while you're losing body fat. The picture on the right just kind of made me giggle. That's why I posted that one. But it's true. If you're only restricting calories, you are going to lose a lot of muscle mass, and with it, a lot of the shape of your body. In addition, protein boosts metabolism. It actually requires more energy expenditure to digest protein than it does the other two macronutrients. So it's like a free calorie burn. You just have to eat the protein, and your body is naturally expending more energy just to digest the protein. Secondly, it keeps you full. Protein keeps you full. So I'll give you an illustration. Most people can eat an obscene amount of calories when they're eating pizza, like a ridiculous amount of calories when they're eating pizza. There's really very little protein in it. It's primarily carb and fat. Now, imagine trying to eat the same amount of calories with chicken and vegetables. Like your body just would say, stop. No, I can't, right? Because the protein fills you up and your body's just like, no more. And with the other macronutrients, you just don't feel as full. And I've noticed that in a huge way. Okay, I'm going to take you over to myfitnesspal.com. Write this down. I will share the recording of this with you guys as well, if you'd like. But we're going to go to myfitnesspal.com, and this is what I always used to use to track all the time. Before I started on the 21-day fixed nutrition, I was always using MyFitnessPal. You can use MyFitnessPal on your computer, and you can also download the app for iPhone or for Android. It's really, really simple to use, and you'll see their database of foods is ridiculously extensive. There is so much in there, and they have a little barcode scanner as well, so you can actually scan foods that you eat, and it'll come up with the nutrition information of the food. It's very, very cool. So this is essentially how you know whether or not you're getting the proper macronutrient profile. So for these 7 days, I'm recommending very close as you can come to 40% protein, 30% carb, 30% fat, as close as you can possibly come. When you register with MyFitnessPal, it will spit recommendations at you, and you can pretty much throw them in the garbage. They go out the window pretty much. In terms of their calories that they recommend you eat, they're pretty close. They're generally pretty close to what I would recommend, but it's the macronutrient profile that you'll have to change manually yourself. So if you just click on change goals, you can also do this on the app as well. You just go to custom, and here you can also change the amount of calories. Say if they've recommended 1,200 calories for you and you know you'll like wither away and die, I'm kidding, then you can change the calories here. So it actually did recommend 1,200 calories for me, but because I'm pretty active, I just know that that's not enough. So you can change your macronutrient profile right here. So 40% protein, 30% carb, 30% fat, and then change goals. And it's very cool because at the bottom, when you go to food and you're going to input your nutrition for the day, at the bottom, my calorie goal is 1,400 calories, and it tells you exactly how many grams of each macronutrient you're going for in a day. So after you're done eating breakfast, for example, it'll tally things up for you. So it was 21 grams of carb today, 9 grams of fat, 21 grams of protein, and it'll just total for you as you go throughout the day, so you'll know if you're on track. One tip, if you are writing things down, write this down. The day before, input all your nutrition on MyFitnessPal. The day before. Don't fly by the seat of your pants, because as you're going, you may eat something, like for example, one of my girls who's really new to the 40-30-30 thing, she posted in one of my groups today about peanut butter. And it's a common misconception that peanut butter is a protein food. It does contain some protein, but it's primarily fat. Because in a serving of peanut butter, there are 8 grams of fat, 4 grams of protein, and 4 grams. So it is primarily a fat, right? And so you eat all this peanut butter and expect that it's going to up your protein, and really it doesn't a whole lot, right? So, and you might be surprised at how much protein is contained in certain foods, or how much fat or how much carb is contained in certain foods. So the day before, input all your nutrition, and then just play with the quantities until you're very close to your goal. So you guys will see, for breakfast, I had an omelet. I didn't put my green peppers in there. Oops, I forgot about that. I had an omelet for breakfast with 1 egg and half a cup of egg whites and a cup of blueberries on the side. For lunch, homemade paleo turkey chili. I eat pretty well paleo. I don't eat a whole lot of grains just because I'm insulin resistant, so that's what works for my body. Celery and apple, and then chicken Caesar salad for dinner. For snacks, I did Shakeology. I put my dark chocolate in there already, although I haven't eaten it yet, but I usually have 2 squares of dark chocolate like a few times a week in the evening. And then 1 scoop of a different kind of protein powder. So input your nutrition the day before, like I said, and then play with the quantities until you're very close to the recommendations that the bottom shows you, until you're very close to that 40-30-30 nutrition. So as I said before, it's going to be more difficult probably than you imagine to hit that 40%. So this is where it takes work. This is the not easy part. is figuring out how you're going to get that 40% in. It takes a little bit of legwork on your part. And also the most common complaint I hear, I'm just going to put it out there, I don't have time. Everybody says I don't have time. And for me, if I didn't do my meal prep on the weekend, or the weeks when I don't do my meal prep on the weekend, it's almost a guarantee that I'm not going to follow my meal plan that week, because I'm too. I have 3 kids, my husband works shift work, and I run a business. So like I totally get being busy. But there are things that you can do, measures you can put into place to make sure that you follow through. Protein prep over the weekend is a great one. And secondly, if you're in a pinch and you really need some kind of protein for dinner and you don't have anything, instead of doing takeout, you can also go to the grocery store and pick up, like Lily Dale has sliced chicken, or they have those rotisserie chickens. And I'm not saying it's the best quality chicken ever, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and nobody is perfect. So prepare the day before, know what you're going to eat the next day. Super, super, super crucial. Let's talk a little bit more about what to eat. As I said before, I follow pretty well a paleo nutrition strategy just because of my insulin resistance, but that doesn't mean you have to. You can fit grains into your nutrition plan and still hit 40, 30, 30 for sure. So if you do, like I said, just pre-plan the day before and you'll see how the numbers shake out. Okay, so here are some options, some high protein options. I don't feel like most people need help with high carb options. They know what they are. So I'm giving you some more options for high protein foods. For breakfast, a Greek yogurt fruit smoothie or a Greek yogurt parfait is a great option. Please don't get sweetened Greek yogurt. You're killing all the goodness of Greek yogurt if you get flavored Greek yogurt, really. Like, you're murdering Greek yogurt. There's so much sugar in the sweetened versions, it's basically not worth it. So get plain Greek yogurt, and you can sweeten it with a bit of stevia, or even like a little bit of honey, and put a cup of berries or a half cup of berries in it. That's one of my favorite like treats. It's awesome. I do an omelet for breakfast all the time. It's really, like, for me, I have time to make breakfast and I really like omelets, so I don't get tired of eating that often for breakfast. But again, the Greek yogurt parfait thing, you can put that together really quickly and go. If you're someone who is running out the door every morning, or if you go to the gym before you go to work or something like that, you can do some kind of protein shake as well. For breakfast, that's kind of another grab and go sort of thing. I will send all of these recipes to you guys again in an email after our call is over. There's a summer chicken salad, and I've got a bunch of recipes for dinner for you guys as well. High protein options for dinner. So a chicken fry, turkey cheeseburger on lettuce wraps, etc., etc. I love replacing pasta with either zucchini or spaghetti squash. My family doesn't like spaghetti squash as much as I do. They will typically prefer zucchini, and you can just use a julienne peeler to peel those. A point that you also might want to write down, and I adapted this from the 21-Day Fix, Autumn Calabrese recommends that you finish all your fruit and your starches by early afternoon. So your dinner should be basically protein and vegetables. And for the 7 days, I highly recommend that you follow that very, very closely. Protein and vegetables for dinner. Make sure your fruit and your starches are in your first half of your day, like by early afternoon for sure. So there are some additional recipes. This cilantro lime shrimp is amazing. So I'll send these your way as well. I'm just going to stop sharing. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I will send the links for those to everybody after we're done here. I'm just going back to my slide. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So to make the most of these 7 days, besides your nutrition, besides what you're doing for your 40-30-30 plan on nutrition, I really recommend adding some interval training. It will really heart rate going, and it'll increase your metabolism throughout the day, whereas steady state cardio, it kind of ends when your exercise is over. And secondly, it really helps to get rid of the water weight that you're holding, especially after the holidays. So if you're already following an exercise program, awesome, then maybe add this 2 or 3 days a week. It's just 10 minutes. And if you're not following an exercise program, then do this 5 days a week. So interval training, it's like a 1-to-3 ratio that I would recommend. Go full out for 1 minute for 60 seconds, and then for 2 minutes, just go at a recovery pace. So you can do a whole lot of different things for intervals. It doesn't have to be just running. Although I have to say, I think running is probably the easiest way to do this. But burpees are super effective. My heart rate gets up there pretty quickly with burpees. They're my least favorite way to do intervals, but maybe the most effective. So for 60 seconds, get your heart rate up and really work hard for those 60 seconds, and then take 2 minutes and go at a recovery pace, go at a slow pace and catch your breath. Don't stop moving, continue moving, but just at a relaxed pace where you're able to catch your breath. So if you add this in, again, if you're already following an exercise program, do this 2 or 3 mornings during the week. And for those of you who aren't, you could do this 5 days a week. It's only 10 days. And I would do this first thing in the morning, like first thing before you do anything else. Do this. It's only 10 minutes. This is a picture of one of my groups that I have going on right now, actually. I'm going to offer a 7-day group for anybody who wants to do this 40-30-30 plan and really commit to it for 7 days. I'm going to do just a 7-day group for that. So if you want to get in on that, there will be information in the email that I send you, so that you're able to have some accountability as you're going through this and ask some questions as you're learning the 40-30-30 kind of thing. For that, we start on Monday. For those of you who are not into doing a group, I'll talk a little bit about what to do after this 7 days is over. I ran one of these actually just before Christmas, and people got some amazing results. 5 pounds, 8 pounds, 7 pounds. Were lost during this week. It was also a 7-day challenge. And for some people, like for my body type, because I'm insulin resistant and my body just doesn't handle sugar well, this would be a totally fine plan for me to continue on. For those of you who don't have any kinds of issues like that, try going for something like 40-30-30. So 40% carb, 30% protein, 30% fat. So after the 7 days is over, you could go down and something a little bit easier and maybe closer to what you're doing now with again, 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. If you have questions, I am happy to answer. That's all I have for you tonight.